Good evening, everybody. I have some information that I wanted to share. It was passed on to me along with a graph that I will post along with this. And it's regarding the day that the Guthrie family found out that Nancy was missing. It's the timeline of that morning. So I'm pretty much just going to read what was passed on to me, and then I'll post the graph, and you guys can give me your opinion from there. So, yesterday, information was shared with the Tucson Police Department dispatch, and it was the transcript excerpts along with their estimated times. This was met with some questions and doubt regarding the timeline of the aftermath of this crime. Apparently, the folks over at the interview room are pushing a post-crime timeline that differs from the official narrative. Chris McDonough, the host, believes that Nancy's daughter was at her mother's home by 11 a.m. on February 1st. And it looks like his source for the outlying data points to Sheriff Nanos' first impromptu briefing on February 1st in front of the crime scene. Do we all remember that night? I know I do. Sheriff Nanos was basking in the glow of the TV cameras and filling the silent night air with the sound of his eager voice. He waxed on about the search efforts, shared an erroneous drop-off time, misspoke about the victim's family, suggested the crime might be an accident, and threw out a casual guess that Nancy's daughter was on the scene by 11 a.m., which I think is ridiculous. Chris McDonough knows that Nanos is an unreliable character for this case. Chris doesn't respect anything that Nanos does or says. He literally calls the sheriff nads, which, while clever, doesn't convey confidence in Nanos' abilities. And yet Chris wholeheartedly accepts this one particular bit of cherry-picked misinformation. Make that make sense, because it doesn't to me. He says that they have verified the 11 a.m. point, but he hasn't elaborated on that verification, so I'm calling foul. In the images below that I'm going to be giving to you, I've replotted some of the dispatch audio alongside with the established timeline of the aftermath of the crime. And this looks reasonable to me. It looks accurate. While we may have lingering suspicions about the family, I certainly do, I know that. This idea that Nancy's daughter could have spent an extended period of time tampering with the scene in the late morning is really hard to swallow. It's a big if the family was involved in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. They had ample opportunity to stage the scene, to clean up after everything. They could have done it almost any time prior, and it didn't need to be done a few minutes before they were making a call to 911 over her disappearance. If the family knew that she had been taken, or had not been taken, by 2:28 in the morning, why wait until her friends called to go over and manipulate or destroy evidence? Doesn't make sense. The next factor is, does the adjusted timeline from the interview room make sense to you? Do you believe that Nancy's family behaved nefariously in those initial moments after being alerted to their mother's disappearance? I don't think so. It just doesn't seem to fit. There was no last-minute cleanup or any type of indication of anything being tampered with in the house by the family. Even if the family is responsible for Nancy's disappearance, I can't see a pre-planned, well-executed crime concluding with a haphazard cover-up once they're on the clock. Why don't we know that could resolve these outstanding questions? It actually should be, what don't we know that could resolve these outstanding timeline questions? I think it would be helpful to learn when Nancy was expected at her friend's house for church to watch online with her friends, but that information has not been given publicly. I checked the church schedule and found that the digital service would have been at approximately, I believe it was 9:30, at approximately 9:30. So if Nancy's local congregation met at the earliest possible time, then they would know something was wrong maybe by 10 o'clock. They'd be worrying by 10:30, and if they met up at 11, they would have called Nancy's daughter by 11:30. So the timeline of the church service is really quite relevant to this case. Chris McDonough must think the church group planned to meet at 10 a.m. based on the information he's stating. Knowing the time of Nancy's church plans for Sunday morning and or the exact time that her friends made the call to alert the family of her absence would clear up a lot of misconceptions about the timeline of the aftermath. Doesn't seem like such a difficult thing just to find out what time was the church service, what time does Nancy usually go to her friends, and when did they realize that she wasn't going to make it? So did they make the call immediately when she didn't show up, or did they wait till after the church service and call Annie? Simple questions, very simple answers, but we're not getting them. Knowing that the time of Nancy's church plans for Sunday morning and or the exact time that her friends made the call would once again clear everything up as far as the timeline. Do you think it could hurt the case to release those points to the public? Specifically, should the investigators release the scheduled church time that Nancy missed and the time of resulting a call to her family? I'm anxious for more information, so I'm going to just say, no, it would not hurt the case one bit, even though I'm not really sure. What do you think? And I will be posting a timeline that was created by somebody I know, and you make a decision on what you think, and I would love to hear back from you. Thank you, and have a good night. Bye-bye.